And I can't tell you how many times I've had conversations with people where they will actually start to give off this view that there's not enough. There's this finite amount of money, and if you begin to take more than your share, then that means that you're taking from someone else so that they won't have enough. Hey there, Gen X fam, and all those who want to learn from our experience. Welcome back. In today's discussion, I want to talk on fear, faith, and other money feelings. You know, it's no lie that in order to succeed with money, you have to have a healthy view of money. And our view of money is shaped in great part by the feelings we have around money. And so for me, there was, unbeknownst to me, fear around money. For instance, if I started to have too much of it, I literally would start to tell myself something bad is going to happen and wipe out all of this money. And so what I would do is behave in such a way that I would cause something bad to happen so that I would lose all of that money. But then once I lost all of that money, I was like, I acted like I was upset, but I was really subconsciously comfortable with the situation. And so many of us unknowingly have this little inner thermostat that says, this is how much money you can have in savings, this is how much money you can earn, and anything above that, alarm bells start going off. And your subconscious will literally start to react and do things that cause you to act in such a way that you avoid all of the bad feelings that come with going above your money thermostat. So what I want to do right now is dive into that, have a little discussion around it, and talk about fear. Let's talk about the things that we are afraid of when it comes to money. Let's talk about faith and how our spiritual beliefs, our upbringings around money can actually help us or harm us. And then let's talk about some other things, other feelings that come with money. And by the time we're finished with it, I think you have a better understanding of how to relate to money and how to look out for warning signs of things that are beginning to drive money out of your life. Because we want to behave in such a way that money comes to us. And let me just straighten this out. Not that money becomes the God, not that money becomes the end, but that we have a healthy relationship and an understanding about money so that it can serve us instead of us serving it, and then we can serve others. Okay, so let's get started. Let's talk about fear. One of the biggest fears around money is that there will never be enough. And I can't tell you how many times I've had conversations with people where they will actually start to give off this view that there's not enough. There's this finite amount of money, and if you begin to take more than your share, then that means that you're taking from someone else so that they won't have enough. Let me tell you why that is an absolute false fear. The supply of money is infinite. The money that we have in circulation now is way more than the amount of money that we had in circulation in the 1970s, or the 1950s, or the 1920s, or the 1800s. The money supply will continue to grow because as goods and services are produced, they generate more opportunities for people to have employment and make money, and then take that money and put it back into the economy, and it circulates around and around. And money is like water. It has to flow in order to do good, and it will flow. The question is, will you scoop up your amount of it? Now, another thing is that people don't think about when it comes to the money supply is we just print more. When Nixon took us off of the gold standard in the early 70s, money became unleashed from gold. So it's no longer you have to have this amount of gold in order for this amount of money to exist. And if you don't have more gold, you can't have more money. No, they just print more. They do it every day. In fact, Nixon's Treasury Secretary said, as long as I have a printing press, I'll never be broke. So they will just print more of it. The real value of money comes in the faith that people have in it. If people believe that the US dollar is a sound investment, a sound form of exchange, it will be strong. If they feel that it's not, it will not, and it will get weaker. So that's what the feelings about there's not enough money really revolve around. It's false beliefs about the supply of money. And the supply of money is infinite because the value that can be created in the economy is infinite as long as there are new ideas. And there will always be new ideas, new goods, and new services for people to buy, produce, all of that. All right. Now let's talk about another fear. It'll change you if you have a lot of it. This is something that people are taught like in their childhood. Maybe when you were a kid, your parents would point out the window to the neighbor who got a new car. Oh, they got a new car. They just think there's so much. Or, oh, they're such snobs. When in reality, they're just living their best life. And they're not even thinking about you. Maybe they're smart. They've done some good things with money. They've earned enough of it where they can afford to get those things. Maybe they're just trying to keep up with the Joneses. Who cares? Your opinion about them doesn't matter to them at all. We spend too much time talking about other people, bringing them down, criticizing them when we have no idea what's going on inside their world. We might think everything's great when it's really not, behind closed doors. Maybe they're fighting like cats and dogs in the house. Maybe they're afraid that they're going to lose their job. Maybe they made a bad investment and what they had to support this lifestyle is crumbling. Or maybe that guy that you're looking at down the street who's driving the beater and wearing the old jeans with the holes in them is really secretly an everyday next door millionaire. You just don't know. So it's not the money that makes the person. You are who you are regardless of how much money you have. If you are a cheap, stingy, selfish tightwad before money comes along, that money's going to put you under a magnifying glass and make you an even bigger, cheaper, stingier tightwad after you get more money. However, if you are at heart a happy, generous, fun-loving person, regardless of how much money you have, when you get more money, you're going to become a happier, more outrageously generous, more fun-loving person afterwards. So that money doesn't change you. It just magnifies who you are. So what do? You make sure that you work on yourself and you create the good character that can handle the money you will get when greater amounts come in. Because the opportunity will come along. The question is, will you be prepared for the opportunity when it comes? And this is why people win the lottery and then within a year or two go broke. Because the money's not changing them. They're either ready for it or they're not. And if they're not ready for it, that internal thermostat will say, danger, 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 and they will spend it all down until they're broke again and comfortable. But if you are ready for it and your thermostat is set high, your thermostat is infinite, and it'll be like, whatever we get, we can handle. I already have a plan for it. And that's why you need a good plan for your money, because he who is faithful with what is little will also be faithful with what is much. So ask yourself, are you being faithful with the little that you have? Are you being a good steward of it? Are you spending it? Are you planning it right? Or are you just a happy-go-lucky, well, in one hand and out the other, running up credit and all of this other stuff? Become the person you need to be in order to have the money that you need to have. All right, the next fear. I can't handle a lot. This goes back to the money thermostat thing. Sure you can. It's just a matter of proper education. If you teach yourself, if you take it into your responsibility to educate yourself about money, you can do it. You are not stuck in a single situation for the rest of your life. You're not locked into that. We as humans have free will, so we have the ability to change ourselves. And with that, we can change our level of education around money. How do we do that? Well, we can read books, right? There's lots of good books out there. There's The Richest Man in Babylon, which taught me a lot. There's Think and Grow Rich, which I also learned a lot from. And if you want something that's going to teach you a more modern feel about how to manage your money, then I have a great book right here that I wrote, Smart Money Makeover. Teaches you my 5 smart principles for handling money, and it will teach you in such a way that you can relate to it and see an actual example of 2 people who are going through this and how they handled it themselves. So you have the ability to handle it. So you don't have to be afraid that there'll never be enough money. You don't have to be afraid that it will change you for the worse if you get it. And you don't have to be afraid that you can't handle it when it comes. These are all things that are totally in your control. Now, let's move on to faith.
Debt. You're stronger. Breakthrough. Scarcity ends here. Abundance awaits. Doubt crumbles. Believe in your power. Savings grow. Credit rebuilds. You're unstoppable. Be your own money hero. Master your money today. Your future of abundance awaits. Money Hero Academy is now recruiting. Do you have what it takes to be your own money hero?
And how faith impacts our views of money. Now, there's a lot I could say, and I might hurt some feelings, but I'm going to say enough for this moment right now. A lot of people are aware that there are churches who are like, pass the plate and praise the Lord. That's what it's about. It's about collecting money. And it creates this situation where bad feelings around money have been created and the scriptures twisted and misused so that you would feel bad about keeping the money you have and be compelled to give it to the church. So now the church has a lot of money, but you don't. So if money's bad, then why is it okay for the church to have it, but you not to? What kind of sense does that make? Why is it okay for your minister or your pastor to drive around in a fancy luxury car or fly in a private jet, but it's wrong for you to crave more for yourself and for your family? That's a twisted belief around money, and I'm going to disabuse that right now. If, for those of you of faith who feel that it's so bad to be rich, then why did God bless Solomon with riches? If you go back in the Bible and you look at all of the patriarchs, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, these people, King Solomon, David, the ones who had God's favor were blessed with riches. In fact, he told the nation of Israel that if they were faithful to him, he would bless them with sheep and cattle and produce of the land and all of this stuff. So now why did it all of a sudden become a bad thing to have money? That was because there was a corruption of the teachings of the scriptures so that those in power could benefit themselves. And that was the apostasy that was prophesied. So now I'm starting to get a little more religious right now, but I'm doing that for the people who have a faith in the Bible and claim to base their faith in the Bible. And for those of you who may not have faith, if somebody tries to make you feel bad about it using their faith to make you feel bad, now you can point out things to them to show them that you shouldn't be making me feel bad about this, because according to your faith, according to your Bible, if it was bad to have money, then God must be evil because he showered money on his faithful servants. So let's not get it twisted. It is not bad to be rich. What it is bad to do is to make money your God in place of the true God, to make that your religion instead of serving God, serving others. So let's keep things in its proper perspective and understand that it is not bad to be rich. You are not excluded from God's blessings and everlasting life just because you happen to be rich. So let's just keep that in mind. All right. There's another belief that's kind of like swings to the other side, but then it dovetails with that there's some virtue in poverty. Let me ask you a question. What virtue is there in struggle? You tell me, what virtue is there in struggle? There is none. There's no virtue in wondering where your next meal is going to come from. There's no virtue in wondering how you're going to keep the lights on. There's no virtue in having to go beg from someone else. There's no virtue in being homeless. None whatsoever. In fact, if you're skilled at your work, you deserve to be paid. Again, going back to faith, Jesus himself said the worker deserves his wages. And the Bible also tells us, is there someone skilled in his work? Before kings, he will station himself. So if you're stationing yourself before kings and you're good at your work, what is the natural outcome of that? You are going to be rewarded handsomely, materially, for your skills. So there's nothing wrong with being good. There's nothing wrong in providing goods and services of quality that people need, want, and use, and being duly compensated for it. There's nobody that is homeless or struggling in the streets where this is according to God's will and you're virtuous because of it. Not at all. In fact, a lot of people don't even realize that when Jesus was crucified on the torture stake, he had a fine garment. They were throwing lots to divide up his clothes. And they were tearing things apart and dividing it up. But when it came to his inner garment, it said it was a single woven piece and it was a fine garment, and they didn't want to destroy it. So they cast lots to see who would get it. So Jesus himself appreciated quality, fine things. Doesn't go into how he got it, but he got it. So there's nothing wrong with having fine things. There's nothing wrong in wealth itself. Again, it's how you steward it and how you have it. And just because you are poor or lower middle class, there's no virtue in that. I know a lot of grimy people who live hand to mouth. And they're grimy and angry and miserable because they don't have money and because they hate other people who have money. So none comes to them because they hate the very thing that they crave. So change your view around that and you'll see how your life changes in retrospect. Let's talk about another faith, and that is faith in yourself. Have faith that you can do this. A lot of people, they think, well, I'm a failure. I can't do this. Let me say to you, you are winning. And the proof that you are winning is that you are still here in spite of everything. The fact that you are listening to my voice right now, looking for ways to do better, to be better, to have better. You don't have to believe in other people's opinions of you. In fact, other people's opinions of you are none of your business. And you'll find out real quick that if you squash what other people think, then you won't have to worry so much about what you do and how you move. So focus on you. Know that you are one of God's creatures, created equally to everyone else. And what you choose to make reality can become reality. We see it every day. People who rise from poverty to immense wealth. They started with nothing, but they had a vision, a dream, and they had the drive to go after it. And now they're wealthy. Colonel Sanders was one of them. Was in his 60s before he became wealthy. Bill Gates had the foresight to see value and jump on it and create something. Steve Jobs teamed up with other people and created the massive thing that is Apple today. And when you think of Apple, you don't think of anybody running a corporation today. You say Apple, who's the first person who jumps into your mind? Steve Jobs. Because he has the credit for bringing his vision to life from nothing. And I say to you right now, if you are out there with a vision and a dream and you want to bring it to birth, bring your baby to adulthood, to life, you can do it. You simply need to believe in yourself, believe in your vision, and then surround yourself with people who can help you with support and knowledge to lift you along your way. But remember, along the way, you gotta put the work in. All right, so that's it for faith. We've explored fear, we've explored faith. So now let's talk about fun. Having fun. And the responsibility we owe to ourselves to do that. Because the thing that I want to say about this is, you are no good to anyone else unless you are first good to yourself. It's like with the airplane and the oxygen mask. Put on your oxygen mask first. So what does that look like? It's okay to treat yourself. As long as you've met your responsibilities and you're doing what you should be doing with your money, you're not being frivolous with it, you're stewarding it well, you've got your savings, your investing going on, and you're spending less than you earn, then it's okay to go out and buy the expensive clothing. It's okay to go out and buy the nice car. Because it's nobody else's business. This is between you and your God and nobody else. And if you're married, it's between you and your spouse. You got to be on the same page with that. So go out and treat yourself, have fun. Take the vacations to the exotic places. You won't do that if you feel guilty around these things. So let go of the guilt. We covered all of that in the previous things. Let go of that guilt. Spend freely on yourself and without guilt. And know that it's okay. And that you are not somehow bad because you dared to spend $1 on yourself. And my first responder, money personalities, have struggles with this because they feel like if I spend on myself, I'm somehow wrong. Don't take that view. Remember, taking care of yourself is the most important thing. All right. it's okay to care for yourself also. Maybe your idea of fun is having a spa day, getting your nails done, getting your hair done, getting a facial, all of those things, having a nice gym membership. These are all things that contribute to your overall health, and there's nothing good, nothing bad with that. Only good comes from that, because in order to pursue the dreams and perform at peak proficiency and do the things that you need to do to care for yourself and others, you got to be healthy yourself. That's emotionally, that's mentally, and that's physically. And self-care is what enables you to do those things. Lastly, let me teach you this. And this will keep you from interfering with your fun. And that is this principle, this truth, this fact. It is okay to say no to others. It's okay. You do not have to say yes to everything. You are not everybody else's slave, their doormat, their servant. You have an obligation to you, because in order to say yes to yourself, you must first say no to other things. You can't be everything to everyone. You have to be able to say no to maybe if you're a business person, everybody who comes to you with an opportunity, you got to say no to. I know I had to start doing that because I need to be focused on this, on serving my people, perfecting my craft, being able to help others at the highest levels. I can't do that if I'm distracted pursuing some other side business, some other side income. First, I have to get proficient, excellent at this, station myself before kings before I can start bringing in other opportunities. So this is my thing. What's your thing? What do you need to say no to in order to say yes to your thing? Maybe the thing you need to say no to is the TV. Maybe it's the video games. Maybe it's being too giving to other people, that then they're treating you like a doormat and they're not appreciating you. So learn to say no so that you can say yes to yourself, to your family, and to all the good things you want to have come into your life. All right, that's it for this week's video. I hope you found some value in it. And if you need help with anything, don't forget to reach out to me. You can DM me, or you can go to my website at intentionalmoneysolutions.com and book free time with me there. All right, guys, you have a terrific day, a fantastic week, and I will see you again soon.